My name is Brian Young. I'm assistant principal at Martin Berman Charter School here in New Orleans, Louisiana, specifically Algiers, which is the second oldest neighborhood in New Orleans, second only to the French Quarter. I was very determined after Hurricane Katrina that I come back to New Orleans as soon as possible. And fortunately, Algiers was the first neighborhood to reopen after the storm because we didn't get a lot of the flood waters. We just had wind damage. But we still felt the effects. You know, I have property in the 9th Ward and that kind of thing. So the city overall was in bad shape. But I knew as soon as they opened this city back up that I would return. You know, there were others in some parts of the country who didn't see the benefit of rebuilding New Orleans. But that story, coupled with listening to students that I had run across in Texas and other places about, you know, Mr. Young, when are we going back to our school and when are we going to go back home? That propelled me to come here, and I was willing to come into school, and I did, along with my principal and some other teachers. We had no moving crews. We had no one to help us, just a bunch of teachers, a bunch of principals. We opened these schools. We got in here, we cleaned the buildings out. A group of us went to my old school, which has severe roof damage. We went in there and we salvaged all we could salvage from our old classrooms because we had to move here to a new school. So we went in, we would get our personal belongings and our materials that we had accumulated over the years, and we brought those things car by car. There were no moving trucks, there were no helpers, and it was raining and there were no elevators in the building. So my classroom in my old school was on the 2nd floor. And my classroom in this building, because before I was an assistant principal, I was still a classroom teacher, was on the 3rd floor. And you could imagine moving boxes from 8 in the morning to sometime 8 at night, back and forth from one building to another building, and then coming in this building and cleaning things out. It was hard, but it was necessary because our children were worth it, and they still are. When something bad happens to you, you know, deal with your feelings, get it all out, talk about it, don't hold it in. But at some point, you have to keep moving. You have to keep rolling along. And with a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, we're back. We're back to New Orleans. We're back to a fun-loving city, and there's still some issues. There's still some neighborhoods 4 years later that are still struggling. But I think with the laissez-faire, laid-back kind of mentality that New Orleans have, the fun-loving spirit that we have, it makes it a little easier. The pill is not so bitter to swallow. It's the right school for me because I click with the staff and the faculty, and I love my principal. And my principal is a person that believes in highlighting a person's talents and letting that flourish. So I can work in that environment. It's not a stiff and stuffy place. When rules are put into effect, usually I'm the person that might be the person that would enforce rules, but it's not a place where you're walking on eggshells. The reason why I love this school is because our children love this school, and we've set that kind of atmosphere and that tone here. Our children, just, you have to go home. It's time to go home. They love being here. This is a pre-K through 8th grade school, but we have a full-time dance class, we have a full-time art class, we have a journalism class. We have a poetry and theater class. We have a full marching band. We have cheerleaders, majorettes, dance team, basketball, football, track, and we're trying to get a golf class because the country club is willing to send 2 golf instructors. So /PE will be golf as well. So we believe in giving our children exposure and experience. We get children in all forms. They come from all kind of backgrounds. They have all kind of problems, but they're still children, and they still have a lot of love in them. And basically, they're just waiting for someone to reach out. They're waiting for some adult to guide them, to protect them, to show them love, to give them the things they need, and they will take it from there. They will blossom and take it from there. But we cannot continue to have children who may come from difficult situations and then come to the school and be browbeaten all day, every day, and put down, and oh, you're just a horrible kid, you have no worth. How could an adult say that it's nothing that they can do with an 8-year-old who's just beginning his life? Now, it may not be immediate and it may not be obvious as to what we could do, but if you keep probing and you keep digging and you keep stripping away those layers, you're gonna find that it's just a regular kid who will be honest and innocent and show love if you can get to that part, if you could get to the core. What's next for me is to see if I can bring our school and our children to the next level. Funding is always an issue. So anybody out there who's willing, if you can help us with the funding, we have the ideas. We truly want our school to be a world-class school in action and deed, and not just something you put as a slogan. So my next goal is to take us to the next level, to try to bring as many children to reach their potential. You know, that's what I'm in it for. That's what I get up every day with that in mind, is that I can't give up on these children. What I would want people to take away from watching this is any child you come into contact with, if it's at church, if you're coaching a park team, a neighborhood team, or just the children that live in your neighborhood. You don't have to be a school teacher. You don't have to have your own biological children. But peel away the layers, see what's inside, tap into that child's interest and passion, and push them. And you'll see how that child is going to flourish once they see that someone recognizes worth in them. All of us have something to offer, and it just is a matter of someone tapping into it and highlighting it and really promoting it. And then usually, if it's that person's passion, they're going to take the ball from there and then they're going to run with it. They just need a push.